One of the main issues that I work with my clients is how to get their employees to listen, right? To listen to what they have to say, and then to also provide feedback on whatever's going on in a way that they can then help them out, right? We need communication in the leadership position. And I've been in leadership for a long time. And that was our biggest thing. How can we get people to talk? But I never forgot what it was like to be an employee. And the thing that leaders forget about is, let's say I'm an employee, right? My employment depends on having a good working relationship with my employer. So how in the world do I go about criticizing my employer in the way that my boss is doing their work? And when I'm worried about, oh man, they could just let me go, especially in this environment where layoffs have been happening, nonstop for almost 2 years now, and we still have more to go, folks. That's the other piece. But let's say that they do take my feedback, right, and I am able to speak my mind, and I don't get fired. Let's say it doesn't happen, I'll get laid off. Well, then nothing changes. It's always the same crap. Like nothing. I say, hey, I need this thing fixed, and then it never gets fixed. But the bosses think they did a survey, they filled it out, and they've done their part. Yay, we've addressed it, when they really haven't. And for anyone who's out there who's listening, who's either on the employee side and been through this just redundant agony over and over again about trying to do this stuff, and then from the boss saying, why won't our people talk to us? We can't get the truth from them. Well, that's where the main issue comes from. I mean, it really is. So today we're going to look at an article from Inc.com where they talk about, the large number, and it's actually larger than what they say. The number of people who don't say anything at work, why they do it, and then they're going to give some ideas. They give some methods that they say to be able to get people to talk. But I'm going to go over what I talk with my clients with, specifically how we go about doing those things, and then using that information to make everything better. Again, for those who don't know, I'm a business coach. I come live here pretty consistently every single day. I work out of West Michigan, around the country, and I hope to earn your subscription today. So let's get into this here. As always, link's going to be in the description, so be sure to go check that out. Again, nearly half of employees stay silent at work. Here's why it's costing you and how to fix it. And this is from Marcel Schwantz, executive coach, speaker, and author. You can go check them out at Michelle Schwantz there. See, look at this. Feedback's happening. Any of them look like they're actually listening? I bet you this one here is having difficult time with it. All right. So honest, and this is, again, folks, this is what we're looking for. We just want honest feedback. Like that's all we're looking for in the leadership, in the leadership world, is honest feedback. But guess what? Business owners, that's also what the employees are looking for too. Just tell them hey, tell them the facts. And we'll get into a lot of that here. Now, honest feedback, leader's best asset. It shows what's working, what's not, what to improve. But again, what if the feedback you're getting isn't the full story? Now, I tend to operate, we never get the full story. And it has a lot to do with that, the fact that nearly half of employees admit to withholding honest feedback work. Some worry about repercussions, right? That, getting fired, not getting a promotion, not getting, that special assignment, whatever it is. Like they worry about that. And others assume leadership won't act on their input. And that's from history, not just because they think that way. It's because their history has shown that we speak up and nothing ever changes around here. Now, either way, decisions made without full transparency are based on an incomplete and potentially misleading view of reality. That's a problem. So lack of clarity and transparency on a business owner's part leads to fear, because if the employees don't know what's going on and they don't know what's happening with the information they've given, now they're like, well, what's going to happen? What are we going to do with this? And you never get back with them, right? Same thing on the boss's side, though. If they're not getting information to them, they're worried about, man, what's going on? Why is anybody talking to us? And again, when you're in leadership, you do not like to see like blank areas of communication. It's scary, right? It's an issue. So leaders who lack an accurate read on workplace sentiment risk missing early warning signs, it's true, of disengagement, performance issues, or cultural breakdowns. Not even, forget all that. You are missing out on what's possibly happening with the client. You're missing out on whether or not your work is actually getting done or not, whether there's any value being delivered either. There's all sorts of stuff that doesn't happen there. But yeah, it's cultural breakdowns, all this stuff. Now, Vizier study surveyed 1,000 full-time employees. So they got a hold of 1,000 folks to understand why workers hesitate to share feedback. I covered a couple at the beginning. We know it has to do with the fact that they are worried about getting fired and nothing ever happens here. But let's see what they had to say. And employees aren't sharing everything, especially when job security is at risk, right at the top there. When responding to annual employee engagement surveys or structured feedback surveys, workers often tailor their responses based on how safe they feel at work, omitting key frustrations or choosing words carefully to avoid unwanted consequences. Listen, and we always knew who was when we were getting these surveys. I'll let you know they're never anonymous, and it's not because it says Billy or Sally submitted this thing. We know how you talk, like, and that's a lot of thing when people submit these surveys. You can tell who's writing because you've heard the same complaint or the issue, but also the way people talk. It shows up in their writing too, so you see those things, right? So they are technically anonymous, but they're really not. And everybody knows that. So people are always going to, adjust how they talk. That just makes sense, right? Employees don't always tell the truth, 100%. No one always tells the truth, so why would it be different with employees? Research reveals that workers often provide socially desirable responses, omit key frustrations, or even misrepresent their engagement levels, especially when job security is at stake. Folks, no one's hiring. I cannot overstate this. If you are a boss, no one's hiring right now. What your folks are going to start with making sure they have Maslow's hierarchy of need covered, right? Food, water, clothing, shelter. And they need a job for that. They need a paycheck, right? That's just the thing. So to think that they're going to give you have to, a lot of work you have to do to set the stage to make people realize that they're not going to lose their job if they speak up. And that takes years. That takes a while to do, okay? So it doesn't happen overnight. Now, this tendency becomes even more pronounced during an uncertain times, right? Layoffs for the last couple of years or restructuring are a possibility. Employees are more likely to stay quiet, fearing to speak up again. They're going to lose their job. And then leaders assume things are fine when in reality, this is where the narrator would come in. Things were not fine, right? We know this. I remember multiple times as an employee where we weren't truthful on the survey about just how terrible things were. It's because we'd had over time, nothing got done, right? But also we didn't want to get fired. And eventually I have an opportunity just to chat with the boss, and he's like, man, I'm noticing no one's talking to me, and everyone seems grumpy. We just did the survey and everyone said it was fine. And I closed the door, I'm like, click. All right, you asked me directly. I'm going to tell you, man, people are miserable. And you just kind of lay the stuff out. And again, they ask why, and I just tell them, no one wants to get fired. No one can afford to get fired. Not even wanting to. It's just, I got to feed my family, right? All right. The solution starts with building a culture where speaking up feels safe. And that takes time. You have to build, like I said, where you have to build and desire people to speak up in the right way. One of the things when I coach my clients is like, listen, we are going to have, again, quarterly feedback sessions, but also we have a daily stand-up where we talk to people. We get feedback daily on how things went the previous day. What do they need this day and what do they need for tomorrow? So we can get people in the habit of sharing, and then we can get little victories, right? As the bosses, hey, I need to get the copier fixed for tomorrow for this. No problem. Let's get in here. They get IT in, it's fixed, and then they can do their stuff, whatever it happens to be. We build little victories that then lead to when we do a survey, people now feel more comfortable saying, hey, they fixed these little things. Let's give it a try with this big thing. Again, it takes time though, not overnight. Now, why leaders need more than surveys alone? Even when employees do provide honest feedback, it doesn't always reflect reality. That's because self-reported engagement data is just that, self-reported, i.e. you have to self-speak it, right? I know it's like, I've been self-smarted, self-speak it. That's terrible. Anyways, the most well-crafted employee surveys often claim to provide insights into employee satisfaction, productivity, and overall sentiment. They don't. There's always a delta. There's a gap, guys. There's always a gap between reality and what the surveys say. Right? And what I always tell folks is always assume it's worse than what you get back. I just start there, and that'll always put you in the right frame of mind that you need to do more work for engagement. But there's a fundamental problem. They only offer a directional sense of workforce trends. Leaders need to recognize that these insights are self-reported and qualitative. They can supplement but not replace hard data. So it's quantity, right? So what they talk about here is you want to have quantitative data. What's your turnover rate look like? All right, what's going on with that? And then you have qualitative data in the survey to add bits and pieces of that. That's what they're getting at here. Because by the way, we're skipping over some of this stuff, folks, because they're talking about AI being involved in this. And, come on, we all know that we don't really need to have AI be part of this stuff here. Now, pairing feedback, to get back to this here, with workforce analytics provides a clearer, more actionable view of workforce health, Helping leaders make smarter, more confident decisions. Absolutely. You're going to get better feedback from folks there. Now, when feedback doesn't lead to action, employees stop giving it, right? That's the other side. When employees do speak up, they don't always trust that leadership will act on their input. The study found that over 1/3 of employees believe their feedback won't lead to meaningful action. 1/3. Again, because this is self-reported, my guess is that it's closer to 50%, if not more. Think I speak up, nothing's going to happen with it. Okay. If employees repeatedly see their concerns go unaddressed, they may disengage. They will disengage from the feedback process altogether. Leaders can close the loop by clearly communicating how employee input shape company decisions. They do, and I talked to my clients about this. We're going to get into here in a second about what the steps that I have my clients take, but we do talk about that. Like, hey, how can we continue to show our folks that we honestly want to make things better? And my answer is always the same. Deliver on what you can, communicate on what you can't. Like, it's that easy. Deliver what you can and communicate on what you can't. But don't not talk to them. Don't not say anything. Like, you gotta communicate with them. Now, workplace thrives when employees feel heard, of course, right? Now, great feedback isn't just about gathering opinions. It's about building trust, uncovering valuable insights, and making real improvements, right? That's the idea. When companies combine employee feedback with real data, encourage open conversations, and show the feedback leads to action, they create stronger, more engaged team. TLDR on this, folks. Again, you want to go check this out. We're going to get into what I talk with my clients about right now. But TLDR on this really comes down to their communication and action. That's it. Communication and action. You can get those two things right. A lot of your employee engagement issues, your culture problems, they tend to just evaporate naturally because you are delivering on what people need and you're communicating on what you can't. So with my clients, here's how we always operate and everything we do. But let's say we were doing a employee survey here. We're trying to fix some culture issues. We're not sure what's going on. Before we even start crafting the survey, this is long before we even start crafting the survey, engage with a third party, whatever. We are building out the communication plan. We are spending time thinking about how we are going to speak and communicate and share our written words, whatever happens to be. The full-on plan from leading up to the time of, the communication during the survey, communication after. We plan out the entire communication first. It's always, and best known practice here, if you're an employee, it's the same thing if you're talking up. Figure out how you want to communicate first, then figure out what you want to do. People get that backwards. It's ready, aim, fire. It's not ready, fire, aim, which is what most people do. Or fire, ready, aim, some terrible version of that. Okay, so we're gonna make that communication plan. Awesome, good for us, good for you, right? What does that mean? We're gonna say, hey, we know that we're not seeing everything, and we need everyone's help. And here's how we're gonna do it. So there's a big message that comes from the boss. Big top boss sends a message down. After the big message goes out, then you have the next level comes down, says something, and then you're going to have the supervisors are also going to be involved in those conversations. So before any survey goes out, I always like to say, let's talk to people 3 times. Let's have 3 conversations. Big 30,000 foot view, 10,000, and then that one-on-one that you have with your supervisor. Just to reiterate, hey, this is our opportunity to say stuff. And in that communication from the boss has to say, here's what we're looking to do, survey-wise, right, in this case. And then after the survey's done, folks, like, this is the communication. We are going to get back to you with the survey results within a week. Then we are going to share with that, and we're going to have other conversations with, top level. So you can all talk to me as a big boss. We can talk, and then we're going to talk at the medium level. Then we're going to talk supervisors one-on-one to really make sure that you've had a chance to, provide the information you need. And then we're gonna start give you a plan of action. How long is it going to take for us? What can we do right away? What can't we do? And what can we do? But it's going to take us some time with a follow-up plan, an actual calendar of here's when you're going to hear back from us on this. And if you would like to help, here's how you can do that too. But we're going to work out that whole communication plan, which includes at the end of the very end, we're going to do a post-mortem, a follow, basically, end of project thing about how well did we communicate? Did we deliver on what we promised? Was there any confusion? What was the pushback? What did it look like? So next time we can make our communication strategy better. That's the first thing that we do. After that, the surveys are pretty straightforward. You can bring in a third party, which is perfectly fine, or you can handle them yourself. There's plenty of stock surveys that your HR folks can get from SHRM. They're out there. But at the end of the day, if you don't have a plan for communication and also for action, it doesn't matter how great your surveys are. Get all that information. People share, but you don't communicate before or after, might as well not even done it. And that is ultimately where what I want anybody watching this video to take away. Get your communication plan right first. Then do your survey, and you will see, because you've got a schedule, right, for follow-up and feedback, all the things, sorry about that, follow-up and feedback throughout your entire plan. Your survey, your folks are going to respond to that. You're going to get better information. You're going to get refining on some of the survey results. They're going to be more comfortable talking to you. And that's really what I want you guys to take away from this. How you want to do your survey, that's up to you. It could be 3 questions. It's the communication piece on either side and during, okay? So, yeah, with that, again, just talk to your folks, talk to them, and then deliver. You can do that. A lot of these problems just wicker away. Again, if you'd like to learn more about how I help companies grow faster than you ever thought possible, be sure to check me out at summitbusinessguys.com. Again, hopefully I earned your subscription today. Take care, and I will see you next time.